Now, to the Championship and the curious case of Blackburn Rovers. Despite being 6th in the league, in the playoff places at the moment, their manager, John Eustace, has opened negotiations to leave the club and is set to join relegation-threatened Derby County. Fans are concerned about the mismanagement of the club, which has led to financial losses, poor decision-making and the alienation of supporters, with a lot of the frustration being aimed at the club's owners, the Venkys. Joining me now is the former manager of Blackburn between 2008 and 2010. It's Big Sam Allardyce. Sam, thank you for joining the show. Just firstly, what do you make of the decision of John Eustace to leave Blackburn and join Derby County? Do you feel that it sums up the situation at Ewood Park?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's John's frustration on getting Blackburn up and around the playoff areas. But yet again, it's more about selling the players than actually buying players to strengthen their position. So they sold Smodic in the summer, who was their leading goal scorer. They haven't really replaced him. And even though John's done a fantastic job, what are they, 6th at the moment, I think? But, you know, and again, it looks like they'll peter out in the end because not many new players have come in to strengthen the squad, of course. And I think that that's very sad for the Blackburn Rovers supporters, particularly because, you know, under Jack Walker, they were a thriving football club, won the league. And most of the fans still remember that. It's a very clear memory that they had way back a few years ago. So now seeing Blackburn Rovers, and personally my time there, I had a fantastic time keeping the club in the Premier League, got to the semi-final of the Carling Cup. And of course, since the Venkys took over, unfortunately, the club has been in decline. So it is very sad, but you know, that Blackburn have to try and continue to do their best, and hopefully, I don't know whether the Venkys are going to sell the club or not, but it certainly surprises me they still have it. They're still the owners of it.
Yeah, just in terms of your time at the club, you were there when the Venkys arrived. They eventually moved you on for Steve Keane. What were your experiences like dealing with them?
Oh, only had a week, I'm afraid. So, you know, so I wasn't there that long, like I mean. So I only had a short spell, and while I was there, it was in and out and gone, like I mean. So yeah, it was very unfortunate for me. I think that I got called in on a Sunday morning, and that was it. Didn't expect it, to be honest with you, because only a week or two into their new regime, and of course, I wasn't their man, obviously, and Steve Keane, who I was very surprised took over the club at that particular time.
What do you think the main motivations have been for the Venkys in their running of Blackburn? Is it all just profit related?
Well, I mean, apparently they were supposed to be incredibly wealthy when they joined us from India. And I think that on the basis of obviously heightening their profile worldwide is what you do when you buy a Premier League football club. Whatever business you're successful in, and however successful you are in the business, if you join a Premier League football club, it heightens your profile. Maybe that was the ultimate goal for them. But what they didn't realise is how football clubs and how complex running a Premier League football club is, and what investment is constant to be invested in the football club to keep the future positive and move forward. You cannot reduce the spending, you cannot reduce the staffing, you just have to keep increasing it all the time. The cost of a player, the cost of a contract has to be well thought out. So the infrastructure at Blackburn while I was there was probably one of the best I experienced. Unfortunately, after the Venkys arrived, that infrastructure left, and nearly all the people I worked with were gone within 12 months. And trying to build a new infrastructure is not easy. And the experience that everybody had in their department at Blackburn was one of the big positives, you know. So it's a great shame that they are where they are, but they're not far off. You know, it's not a huge amount of investment, I would say, to try and get in the Premier League again, because we've seen Burnley do it, we've seen Luton do it, you know, we've seen Ipswich do it, you know, and they're smallish clubs like Blackburn are at the moment, so it can be done with the right infrastructure.
Sam, good to see you. You mentioned there that Blackburn are not that far off. They're 6th at the time of recording in the Championship, and yet John Eustace chooses to join Derby County, who are fighting relegation, and that's off the back of John Darl Thomason also leaving the club due to similar disagreements with the Venkys and the club's strategy. That's pretty damning, isn't it, for Blackburn Rovers to be losing a manager fighting for promotion to the Premier League to a side that could get relegated to League One?
Yes, I think that it tells its own story. I mean, he's saying to the club, I'd sooner prefer to go and work at Derby County, even though they're in that position. And if he is speaking to Derby County, they must be attracting him by the support he's going to get that he's perhaps not receiving at Blackburn Rovers. So, and he thinks he can take Derby forward very quickly and get them in a position to get promoted, of course. So that's the only reason I can think behind it. When you're moving to a football club, it's the size of the club, but also it's the people you're working with. That's the most important decision you make. Can you work with them? Do we all work together? Are we all pulling in the same direction? And getting that infrastructure and getting that contract right and all pulling in the same direction is a big ask in football today, because obviously many people work in football, sometimes, not always, for the better of the club or the better of the team itself.
Sam, I know you're sunning it up in Spain at the moment. You were spotted with Fergie the other week as well. Just wondering about you and your future. Are you going to be planning to head back into management at all?
Only if I get the call to somebody said, Sam, would you be interested in helping us and developing us, moving in the right direction? I'd speak to them obviously and see where it went from there. As in active, I don't ring up and ask for every job that comes available, but somebody, if they are willing to take an old experienced guy on like me now, then you never know. Never say never, they say.
Brilliant. Sam, thank you very much indeed, and enjoy the rest of your time in Spain as well. Sam Allardyce there, the former Blackburn Rovers manager in 2008 and 2010. Stefan, just very quickly, fans are going to plan protests for the upcoming game against West Brom. There has been talk of an independent regulator coming into football. Is this exactly the kind of situation where that would be able to counteract what's going on at Blackburn?
I suspect probably not, actually. I think it would be a little bit too political for a regulator to get involved in a situation where there wasn't an immediate insolvency issue that we can see. I mean, there are issues with the Venkys, but it doesn't look like they're an immediate financial crisis. I don't think it's clear that those owners are no longer fit and proper. So I suspect actually the regulator wouldn't be able to get involved in what looks like a situation where the fans might not be as happy as they would like to be, but there's no tangible reason for a regulator to intervene. Look, Blackburn have got issues, not just in terms of management and everything else, but often in these sorts of situations when they look across the road and see what's happening up the road at Burnley, for example, that exacerbates the situation. And so, you get the sorts of protests that you get. The reality is that for everything we want to say about the Venkys as owners, over their time in ownership, over the last, maybe 10 years it's been, they've put in over £180 million of money into the club. The club is losing on an annual basis over £20 million before at the EBITDA level. So, it's not a club that's going to look particularly attractive to the outside world, and nor can fans really say that the Venkys haven't put a lot of money in so far. Now, it's not gone well, clearly, but it has been an expensive investment for the Venkys.